All right, everything is made in the center of gravity. The center of gravity connects to the core and the size of the earth. This connects to the element table. The atoms are in a unique size to each other and element type. So gas, rock, and metal, they're opposite to each other and have different temperature resistance. And when there's pressure, they form frequency and pitches opposite to certain gaps to the pressure that they're against. And this center of gravity creates that gap. So you have this center of gravity that creates that gap. It could be created anywhere in the room or in the core of the earth with humans or with proteins in the earth. So different layers of rock, different layers of land on the ground create different pressures that create different rock minerals. And so the core with land over it creates different pressures with the chemistry in the core to each other. Resistance, retention resistance creates a certain pressure resistance that other rocks create lavas, create lava pressures in volcano mountains and explode that type of lava if it's nitrogen or extra oxygen in the atmosphere or methane or carbon that's connected to those creatures, the dinosaur eras back in the days. It is connected to a frequency number, and so the different rocks created in different pressure connected to a frequency number. And so the fish bones in the bottom of the sea with sand going on top of it creates oil, gas, or limestone. And if the land goes underneath the mountain, 40,000 foot mountain, it would create marble or granite. So these rocks are created in a uniqueness spread out across the earth in a spiral. So they're connected to this spiral, and the spiral is in the electron, but it's also in the human. And so the spiral is in the electron connected to the atmosphere and to groups of clusters of different or the same atoms in that frequency gap pitch, opposite to other clusters around those air molecules. It will create a certain number, a certain tension resistance, or pressure potential, or heat and tension. So different parts of the atmospheres, the atoms move and they create a frequency pitch, gap, resistance, pressure potential, heat and tension that is equal and opposite to those atoms around it and the atoms next to it, and the proton, neutron, electrons opposite to each other in that frequency. So the center of gravity in the atom and in the air and in the core of the earth has intelligence. They are made into the gravity, heat, and pressure of the atmosphere, the land, and the sun that creates an equal and opposite frequency and form in different places. So for us, just like the electrons has a spiral frequency gap pitch, we have that with our body. So our body has a beginning, middle, and end in the front, and it has past, future, and present to the front, the middle of the body, and the back of the body. And so we create second guesses or creativity or thoughts or calculations through the front and the back and the middle in those gaps. The gaps in the middle reconnects to new potential, with gaps in our brain connects to new potential if we hesitate. By letting go and swallowing our pride and biting our tongue, we create new ideas later on through the day, by building a higher tolerance, the brain gives us new ideas in those spaces. And so the brain has multiple timings in different parts of the brain so that it could connect to those levels and recalculate and come up with better ideas. And so how the brain knows our spaces and the timing of our spaces. It times the objects, it times ourselves to an uneven disorder timing to the objects and the size of the objects, or to our energy to the objects. It creates an uneven timing. So it's all an illusion in the brain, time and space, to this spiral of different angles of our arms and our body. So the hand to the shoulders, the hands, the fingers to the neck, the angle, the distance from it. It knows the timing, and it knows the height and the length and the angle of the hand, and it connects multiple complex movements and then synchronizes to certain gestures and witty, clever humor in those angles, and it releases pressure. So we constantly are being timed in the angle of the body, from the nose to the neck to the legs to the thighs to the calves, the tilt of the head, the smirk, the gesture, the laughing, the sayings, talking, smiling. It connects us to the center or the beginning or the end of the room, and to that feeling of the room and where we are in that room. It creates how we meet and acquire and embrace and hear and undergo spaces. It creates the open-minded, the free spirit, and the patience in that timing, the tolerance, the confidence, the determination. We sway our body, we curse, we cry, we breathe deeply. It changes the body and the fear in the brain, and separates us from the body and the fear to look at the fear instead of being in the fear. It separates the body. And so the brain constantly creates a center of gravity to front, back, and middle of multiple angles, this center of gravity. So everything is connected to the timing, to the bush and the grass in and out, the left side of the sunrise and the right side of the sunfall, or the sunrise on the right side and the sunfalls on the left side. So we have humble and dominating left and righties to the sunlight. So we're all connected to the sunlight, to the spinning of the earth, and to the moon in months, in days, and in seasons, to the sun. And so the bacteria, we all have the same timing. The bacteria, the insects, the plants, the humans, the birds, the fish, all have the same timing that is connected to the spinning of the earth, the moon, and the seasons. And so we're connected to the center of gravity. And so the center of gravity is formed in its own place, but has a timing to the pressure around it, to the environment around it, to how comfortable we feel to that type of style and that type of environment. We're connected to the environment in that number, the number of beauty, the number of space, the number of gravity, the spiral of a flower and the petals of the flower connects to the number of beauty, and the number of leaves connected in an angle 3 and 5 opposite to each other to the spiral connects to gravity off the ground. So we're connected to the gravity, the plants, and we're connected to the number of beauty with the amount of bones that we have in our heads. The amount of bones is connected to the number of beauty, with 5 and 8 and 2 and 1 with the arm. And so we're connected to the angles of our body gestures and movements, and what we're saying, how we're saying it, and connected to the spiral of the plant. And different rocks in different levels of pressure erode and rise up, and connected to the soil that comes from the mountains and from the lava, that got different plants in different parts of the earth, that those plants can't grow in other parts of the earth. And so the spiral connects to at rest, in motion, express, absorb, outward, inward, internal, offense, defense, external, upside down, downside up, inside out, outside in, small size, big energy, small size, big force, small size, faster energy, small size, stronger gravity, stronger connection, extrovert, introvert, extrovert, back, down, top, front, left, right is connected to the brain design. The reptile is back, bottom. The left, right is the monkey, and the top, front is the caveman. And so it's also connected to top, front, left, right, bottom, back. These are 7 orbits that are connected to different sensitivity and different determination and stimulation, and composed and subdued to 7 lines in front of our body that connects to talking to strangers that want information for direction, that connects to your boss, that connects to your worker, that connects to your friends, that connects to your girlfriend, your family, and yourself, different layers. And so these layers are also in the atom. The highest layers of electrons are in orbits, and the highest is 7. And so these orbits connects to frequencies that have stimulation, and the frequencies go forward and back and amplify our mood, connects to our body weakness, and then forward connects to our body weakness, and our tension resists, and then falls back inward to that type of mood, to that food or that music or that clothes in our body. So the frequencies got testosterone, dopamine, oxytocin, and so they create the comfort feel, they create the sternness, they create the feeling, and it also creates a tight and looseness in our muscle, an uneven tight and looseness in our fingers, in our forearms, in our biceps, in our shoulders, that only in the right levels to move freely. Underneath that tight and looseness, or on top or over that tight and looseness, is the comfort protein, it's the tender protein, it's the determination, it's the sternness, it's the grittiness, it's the assertiveness, the dogmatic, more aggressive. So these proteins help us walk in uneven tight and looseness, like frequencies, and the frequencies are connected to the direction and the distance and the size and the sound and the motion, and that rhythm in our bodies connected to uneven tight and looseness in our hips and in our backs, in our chest, and our knees, that makes us want to dance to a certain aggressive rhythm or a nice rhythm. And so you could find me on Facebook, Nino Rivera, YouTube, Nino's Theory 1 or Nino's Theories 2 or Nino's Theories 3, Nino's Theories 4. And so the center of gravity helped shape the bacteria's, the air was green, the ocean was red, and so the bacteria released oxygen from absorbing hydrogen, and change from the regular bacteria that eat toxic proteins, ate hydrogen and released oxygen, and the air filled up with oxygen and pushed the ion down and pushed the carbon down, and then in the ocean pushed the ion down and turned the air into blue clear air and blue ocean water, and then filled up the ozone area with 3 oxygens that allow radiation to get absorbed so bacteria could come out of the water and go into the soil and turn into plants. So you have the moon that collided with the earth that created extra iron in the earth that created the magnetic field. You have oxygen in the ozone layer. You have eroding reefs that create sand through the waves, and the sand turned into islands, and the birds came over and went to the bathroom and released seeds that they ate from other trees far away, and those seeds turned into grass and then turned into trees. Volcanoes explode and create soil in different areas. They create also diamonds in certain areas. You have streams of gold created through the cracks of earthquakes that let gold rise up in streams of rivers. And you have evaporating salt water that creates salt mines. You have leaves that fall in shallow water in humidity millions, hundreds of millions of years ago, that the leaves stood in the water with sand, kept the carbon, didn't release it. It was in the water, it turned into coal. And you have fish bones that turn into limestone or gas with sand pressure on top of it in the bottom of the sea. It turns into limestone. And if the land moves underneath 40,000 foot mountain, the limestone turns into marble and granite. You have bacterias. So we're all connected to the same frequency, to the time and space. I said that. And so the center of gravity creates neighborhoods. The pressure of neighborhoods creates music, rock music, mobsters, hip-hop music, jazz music, from the high class to the low class. And they create relationships, the right relationships of families, to the pressure of the neighborhoods. Groups come together because they drink or do drugs or have a lot of sex. And so environments have groups that come together from certain pressures and want to move in certain environments away from the pressure, and they find their best friends, they find their relationships. Different states and countries and neighborhoods and cities have different pressures, so it creates different class, different age, different quality, style, race, types. And so the center of beauty is connected to the number pi, and the number of beauty 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, that starts in a higher level and finishes lower and lower to a center of pi, and it becomes more and more to that center of gravity. So the center of gravity connects to a cannonball shooting out. Where the cannonball curves is where we lose. Gravity starts winning. In that gap of the curve as it falls, there's a gap of vainness and shallowness and insecurity. We curse and become insecure, but then swallow our pride and bite our tongue and stay focused. In that falling from that angle where the cannonball fell back from where it came from, we live in multiple levels in thoughts and creativity, or personality, or enthusiasm and witty, clever, and humor in that level. And so space is governed through the center of gravity, and it's connected to one time, one sense of timing with the planet size and the pressure and things growing in different timings, but it all connects equal and opposite in time and space. And so space can always evolve because there's shallow levels, and then there's center of gravity of caring and adult and confident levels that we always fall back into. And so we follow music and movies and sports just like the planets follow the sun, and we're connected to the center of gravity in style and class and type and race, and that's everything. Thank you.